I'm an atheist and I'm tired of fat and black being the image pushed on our culture. I don't need it to be shoved in my face at every opportunity. She was just fine as a skinny white girl before the character appropriation happened. This is already annoying and the video has barely even started. Today we're talking about the dumbest fiction art controversy I have seen so far on the most annoying and toxic platform on the internet, which still somehow manages to keep everyone entertained. And just like every other fiction art controversy on Twitter, a lot of people shared their opinions by blatantly disregarding everyone else's thoughts, or in this case, not even listening to whatever the other person has to say as long as it did not correlate with the context of their own argument. And what annoys me the most out of all these situations is modern day Hollywood have successfully found a loophole in cinema which they have been milking non-stop, which is where they surprisingly race swap or gender bend an already existing character out of the blue and then wait for the fans' reaction on Twitter just to see what happens. And guess what? You really don't even have to bother guessing, it just ends up bad. Terribly bad. Whether she's thin or fat, y'all just hate seeing a black April O'Neil. Just say you hate black women and go about your day. I hate that they can't come up with a well-written black character, so they just race swap pre-established characters. This whole April O'Neil crap is why you should never ever let the woke gender bend or race bend anything, because letting them do it once establishes a precedent and allows them to mark their territory, after which they'll just keep doing it over and over again. New April looks like what the I fix your art or character people will do. So this whole drama started after the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was announced a couple of days ago, and this new adaptation featured a rather different looking April O'Neil than everyone expected, and all of a sudden everyone on Twitter had a problem with the design of the character. But we all know deep down what they really were annoyed with, since apparently it's clearly not that obvious. She's black.
I beg your pardon?
She has dreadlocks and is a little bit on the thicker side, which apparently is not accepted on Twitter according to character design standards. And for some reason, characters that are chubby or a little bit thick are not considered appealing enough to become main characters. Just say y'all hate fat people and be done with it, instead of saying things like, oh, the design is bad, or oh, she doesn't fit with the art style, or every other excuse in the book whenever a character isn't appealing to you or doesn't fit your idealistic representation of what a main character should look like. A Twitter user decided it will be in everyone's interest if they tried to fix the horrible character design and somehow make it more appealing to a modern day audience without them even doing any drawing at all. Basically taking another person's fan art of April O'Neil and showing us what they think an appealing character is supposed to look like with proper representation and a preferable body type. As always, people are pulling the racist card at any April O'Neil criticism, white activists at that. April is supposed to be beautiful. They could have given us a cute black April. They made her ugly on purpose. Race plays no role in that. How does this character look ugly in anyway? We haven't even seen April under proper lighting, so how can you tell if she looks cute or not? Y'all are just going off the fact that she's slightly thicker and using that to insult the character design. According to this Twitter user, this design of April is ugly and lacks any atom of beauty and appeal. And this design is what they should have gone with in the first place. Okay ma'am, let me get this straight. Are you saying she's ugly because she's chubby, wears glasses and has dreadlocks, or am I misinterpreting your point here? Because I'm kind of smelling something here and it smells a little bit like fat phobia, ma'am. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I can tell you're a knowledgeable Christian, right? And I believe the Bible says love your neighbor like yourself, and it didn't mention anything about criticizing them because of how their body looks. So you're supposedly a Christian but body shaming people with this statement and in the comments. Doesn't God say not to judge? That's an ugly thing to God. I haven't body shamed anyone. I criticized a drawing. The Bible also tells us to judge. Just don't be a hypocrite about it, nor condemn. I'm an atheist and I'm tired of fat and black being the image pushed on our culture. Both are fine. Different strokes for different folks, but I don't need it to be shoved in my face at every opportunity. She was just fine as a skinny white girl before the character appropriation happened. You see, this is exactly why I hate this new direction Hollywood shows or movies are using to spark a conversation for their show and inadvertently cause people to hate watch this show or movie or whatever it is they're promoting. At this point, we're just giving them free publicity every time we argue one race is better suitable for a role than another, or one body type looks better as a character than another. Just like in this case with people saying a slim version of April O'Neil is better and more preferable as a character design choice than a slightly chubby April O'Neil that is relatable to a lot of people. What happened to representation for all our thick queens, y'all? Why is everyone suddenly body shaming a character for how she looks? This also isn't the first time Twitter has criticized a character for being chubby, saying things like it's not normal for people to be on the thick side or chubby, totally forgetting that there are people who just have slower metabolisms and gain weight even without eating anything, and they're absolutely okay. There's nothing wrong with them. Just say that you're racist and fatphobic. There's nothing wrong with this version of April O'Neil. She's still cute. Quit speaking for black people. The fact that there are definitely people who look like this and she's talking about her like that, like, dang. Face that stank attitude, it's starting to smell. Another argument I saw on Twitter were the people wondering why April O'Neil was black in this new iteration of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when there have been multiple versions of her in the past as a black person, and people also stated that one of the co-creators from the original comics had a wife that was biracial, and the April O'Neil character's design was originally based on her. Now I know a lot of people are mostly familiar with the April O'Neil from the comics and the 80s cartoon character that was a Caucasian redhead, and some people grew up with that, so they automatically prefer that version because it's probably the only version they know. So they find it problematic every time a new version of the Ninja Turtles is made and April's design is changed again all of a sudden. There's another conversation that needs to be had, because why are you upset she's not sexy? She's a teenage girl. You aren't supposed to see her as hot. But at the same time, what's not attractive about plus size people? What are you trying to say? I mean, I love me a ginger, strong, nerdy girl, but this is really cool. While I never really minded a non-white April O'Neil, learning that she was originally a non-white person makes me angry that my childhood sold me a whitewashed story. Okay, that was actually kind of funny. I imagine all the other characters and stories we grew up to believe were white, but now that we're older, we're just starting to believe that they were probably not what we were told. This is what, the 7th or 8th new Ninja Turtles. Also not the first time she's race swap, I think. Either way, it doesn't matter. She's one of those characters that the real struggle is to make her relative to the plot. Also, I don't like how she keeps getting younger. I think her age is loosely based on how old the Turtles and Master Splinter are in whatever version they're making. So if they're making a version with them as teenagers, then every other character's age will have to be adjusted so it fits with that, since some of these characters actually grew up alongside the Turtles. So they race swapped April O'Neil. Well, of course she was a redhead, so it's mandatory. But hey, she did start off as a black character, so I'm not really bothered. But what the f is that? Clearly they were inspired by the raging success of Velma to make another self-insert identity politics blogger character. It just makes so much money. It's Velma all over again. Velmafication. I think I should have just named this video the Velmafication of April O'Neil, or I could just wait till the show comes out and then I make another video and name it that. It seems everyone is comparing Velma and April because they both are POC characters and are slightly chubby, ignoring the fact that Velma had a very annoying attitude, which was pretty obvious in the trailer. But then again, we really can't say much about April's character because she barely even had any lines of dialogue in the trailer. I don't think anyone hates her for being black. They hate how she's built like the Penguin. Really? You really need to stop coming at my black sisters like that. I really don't like how the only criticism this character gets is just because she's slightly chubby. Like, y'all can come up with any other thing to complain about a character aside from the fact that she's just chubby. It's as if everyone has forgotten that we've had characters in the past that are chubby and have been successful and likable, with decent backstories and very good character development in all of their shows. So why is this one a problem all of a sudden? I love Rise April. She looks so cool and funny and looks pretty at that and fits with the cast super well. I'm not a fan of the whole direction this movie seems to be going, and I also don't like that she's built like Club Penguin. I liked previous April on the left. I don't like the new one. The new one looks terrible in my honest opinion. My favorite is still 2003. This one looks like whoever was making her design was fired halfway through, so some third grade AI with no idea how people look had to finish it. You have no idea how much I love black women, bro. Her rights design is amazing. What people are complaining about is her overall design. She looks like she suffers from dwarfism. Okay, chill. The characters in this new show are all designed to look funny with exaggerated proportions that aren't necessarily realistic, which is why most of the characters in the trailer have very small feet and hands compared to the size of their heads and their longer upper body limbs. These kind of proportions usually make the characters look a little shorter than usual and slightly goofy. And then when they want to make a character look extremely tall, they'll just make them very slim and stringy looking. An artist that also draws his characters like this is Max Gregg, and I think it's a very cool and funny style to look at. Say, isn't it actually more racist that Hollywood seems to believe that race swapping is the better and easy way to go instead of creating all new characters? It feels like they think original characters of color do not deserve their own stories. Olivia and Nessa from Pokemon are also black women, but people like them. What fans do not like is when you take an iconic character and just change them for political reasons. Yet more tokenism. People need to just admit they're so creatively bankrupt or value blackness so little they only find legitimacy in superimposing a black face on an already established white character. Pathetic and degrading. At this point, it's pretty obvious that most people can see through Hollywood's gimmick of just race swapping characters just to create controversy and get people arguing and hate watching their shows, and then relying on that as an easy way to make bank with poorly written stories. And it's honestly getting tiring at this point. It seems no one is considering making new stories with original characters, and the people who do either don't get greenlit and make it to the big screen and probably don't even have enough funding to make the movies themselves. So we might just end up seeing more characters we grew up with race swapped for a new show or something that's probably going to spark a controversy on Twitter and get a ton of backlash. As for the design of April in the new Ninja Turtles show, I think she looks okay. I think she absolutely looks relatable, and I personally have no problem with the design at all. I think the animation style most of these new animated movies are coming out with post Spider-Verse is really cool. I love how they're slowly bringing back the feel of old 2D animation but mixing it with a modern impressionistic art style, making them feel very refreshing and exciting. Spider-Verse low-key influenced this new look of animated movies, and I'm all for it. Anyways, that's all I have for you today. Please leave a like on the video and share it with a friend, and subscribe to the channel if you're new here. I will see all you pretty penguins in the next video. Peace.